sometime in the future, we are planning on coming back and building this, as I mentioned earlier. But what this will look like is about 4-foot shoulders on the outside. Right now, you have about a foot. About 4-foot shoulders on the outside, an 11-foot lane, and 1.5 to 2 feet on the inside. Then barrier down the middle. So we'll no longer have the biggest safety issue that we have out there, and that's head-on accidents. So the full length of our project, from one end to the other, from basically 6th Avenue exit, going into Camas, all the way to 6th Avenue, or 6th Street, whichever one it is, the full length will have medium barrier in it. So we'll no longer have the issue of head-on accidents. And that's, to us, when we went through and talked to your staff, talked to Camas staff, Fort staff, and the community, that was the biggest issue, is safety and providing safe throughput, safe access for everybody that uses the roadway. I'm going to go back to the other. So the rest of the investment is to, well, we're going then from the end of the bridge, which we can't do a lot of widening. We're going to start right here and slowly put 4 lanes across. We will add another bridge across the East Camas Loop, and then I'll go across to 4 lanes coming up to the Union SR 500 intersection. This combination of intersections is what split diamond interchange is what we call it, is what we showed you last time. And the idea is you're going to have an off-ramp come down to Union here and go through a roundabout. So people peel off the highway, come down and slow down to go through this roundabout. If you're at Georgia Pacific and you want to come get on the road highway, you come, go through this roundabout, and then get on a standard on-ramp. Just like we have, the on-ramps will be just like we have on 164th and 192nd, etc. So roundabout on each side at the ramp terminals where the ramps come down. Then down below, we're going to have a frontage road, a 2-lane, one lane or two, 2-lane? 2-lane frontage road on the south side, connecting these 2 sets of roundabouts. This is 2nd Avenue. It'll be a roundabout on each side, and the frontage road on the north side, which is 8th or 6th, C Street, that'll basically stay the same, with the exception we'll have some roundabouts on it, have to do a little bit of realignment in this little section. On this end, we'll have ramps as well. We'll have an on-ramp to come to Washougal and go up the gorge, and then if you're in Washougal or the gorge and you want to get off, you'll get off this ramp and then go around this roundabout. Highway 14 from here to here is going to go up and over Union. It'll dip down a little bit, and then it'll go up and over 2nd at this location, then come back down, touch down right about here, right about where the ramps tie in at. So 14 will be up above, 15 to 20 feet above the existing grade. Second and Union are actually going to be lowered. If you look at it now, kind of the highway goes up a little bit. It's actually going to be lowered to be more of a straight shot through. And the reason we're lowering 2nd and Union is to keep so we don't have to raise the highway as much. Raising the highway every foot for the full 4 lanes width with all the walls and all the bridges is real expensive. So it's a lot cheaper for us. We can build the whole project within budget if we lower Union and lower 2nd. So that's going to be one of the challenges, and Chris is going to tell you how we're going to do that during construction, trying to keep people flowing through the project, which you know today is very difficult to get people to go through at the different signals. It's even going to be more difficult, obviously, when we do the stage construction. So at the end of the project, what we'll have is no more signal at Union, no signal at 2nd. Temporarily, there'll be a signal at 6th, but we'll pull that out at the end of the project. So we'll have no more stop and no more intersections, no more turning in front of somebody else anywhere until we get to 15th. So it should be basically a straight shot to 15th. And then when you're going here and you're going to Vancouver, or I-5, I-205, you get on at 15th. 15th's a free flow on, as you know, coming out here. It'll basically be free flow until you run into another freeway or you decide to get off one of the other freeways. So it'll really be nice to get rid of those signals after construction. So what Chris is going to talk about is how he's going to build these with
minimal disruption.
Well, there'll be disruption.
There will definitely be some disruption. So if you want to bring up stage 1 on there. Right there. So one of the first things that we'll do when we go to work, right around the first of the year is what we're anticipating is we're going to go build the roundabouts in all 4 quadrants. So the 2 roundabouts at Union and the 2 roundabouts at 2nd. That helps facilitate the traffic as we're building the rest of these interchanges. The next thing we'll build is the off-ramp that Bart was talking about here at Union will serve as the temporary roadway while we build. Once we build this frontage road, the on and the off ramps are connect back into SR 14, and then Bart also mentioned that we're going to be installing a temporary signal at 6 to try to facilitate people getting in and out and try to minimize the impacts that 6 will have now through the construction. So this blue configuration will last roughly about a year is what we anticipated. We are going to put some provisions in the contract that will reward the contractor for getting it out of this configuration sooner than a year, but right now we anticipate this will take about a year to build that. The reason that we need to build that is the grade separation that Bart talked about is being 20 feet higher than what we are today out there, and having to have at least some way to get back in there and to be able to build the interchange. One of the things you will notice, though, Bart mentioned lower in the grade at Union and lower in the grade. So we will have weekend closures of Union and Second. They won't be on the same weekends, but we will have to close those so that we can do the earthwork and get these two sections of the project connected together. We also mentioned the improvements that we're going to be doing at the West Camaslu Bridge, so the big bridge. You'll see that's about almost a year-long, 6 months to a year-long construction in order to do that retrofit and that widening on that structure. So you will see at night that the structure is going to go down to 1 lane in each direction. So we'll be narrowing up and shifting traffic over so we can get some sort of workspace so that we can cut off that barrier that Bart talked about and do it one section at a time. So there will be some impacts on that side as well. Go ahead and jump to stage 2. In stage 2, you'll see we'll be doing all the work that's here on the blue. We'll also have an additional closure on Union and Second so that we can set the girders when we get the bridges built almost up to the final grade and get the girders set. We'll have probably a closure, 1 or 2 closures per each of those to set the girders. That'll be at night off of peak traffic to get that set. We will also be lowering the speed limit to about 35 miles per hour through this stretch right here. We've modeled how this functions, and it functions real similar to how it is today. It doesn't get much worse than what it is today. So this allows us to get in and be able to get the work done in as timely a manner as possible.
So I got a question for you.
Sure.
If you don't mind.
Yeah.
So during this stage of the construction, will the traffic from Washougal be getting off, going through the roundabouts, and then getting back on 14?
That will, 14 will be, you're right, the 14 will be that yellow. So that'll be the
Okay.
new 14 temporarily, so, yes, everybody will, we won't really get off, the lanes will just veer down and be on the south side of the existing 14.
Okay.
What you'll see is more continuous movement through there. Without the signals, people will just continually move through.
Right.
Is that what roundabouts do, is continually move traffic? Oh, I see.
Yeah, the reason we didn't like them quite as much on the main line, well, it's, we're nervous, just, I don't know if some of you were involved in other discussions, but the 55-mile-an-hour speeds, it's a little bit different situation with the roundabouts. When people make a decision to get off the freeway and to pull down into a ramp, you expect to go